Welcome to my Tech Spotlight series, where I talk about cool tech cards that even poor players can use. This time we're talking about the trap card, Fiend Griefing. It is obtainable from Yami Baccarat's drop rewards, and has the effect to return a monster from your opponent's graveyard back to their deck, and allows you to then send a Fiend-type monster from your deck to your graveyard. Returning a monster from the graveyard back to the deck seems like a benefit to your opponent, but don't forget that there are tons of monsters that gain benefits when being in the graveyard, or can be revived easily with other card effects. For example, Shiranui Spectral's Word has the effect to banish itself and another zombie-type monster from the graveyard to special summon a Synchro monster, which can be prevented by Fiend Griefing's effect. Magnet Warriors require Alpha, Beta, and Gamma to be in the graveyard to special summon Berserkian, but by returning one of them to the deck, your opponent no longer meets the summoning requirement of Berserkian and cannot summon it. Fiend Griefing's second effect is also extremely good, as sending a Fiend-type monster from your deck to the graveyard enables all sorts of plays. Decks like Burning Abyss have Fiend-type monsters that love being sent to the graveyard to activate their effects, and Fiend Griefing not only does that, it also shuffles a monster from your opponent's graveyard back to their deck as well. The main drawback of this card is that you cannot activate it if your opponent doesn't have monsters in the graveyard. You won't be able to use its effect to mill a Fiend monster and enable your plays, but honestly that rarely happens, so it isn't that big of a deal. If this card is used outside of Fiend decks, its effect is simply useless if your opponent doesn't rely on monsters in their graveyard at all. Needless to say, this card can shine in some specific decks, mainly Burning Abyss decks, which can make good use of both of Fiend Griefing's effects. It is also a good anti-meta choice if graveyard-reliant decks become top tier. Overall, this card falls into the category of more specific supports, as it may seem underwhelming in other decks, but can even surpass other expensive popular generic tech cards like Book of Moon if used in the right deck. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.